The last video focused on conversion problems that involve moles to grams or grams to moles. In this problem, we will focus on the number of particles to grams or moles. So before we begin, when we say particles, we mean ions, atoms, or molecules. So if I have fluoride ion, if I have lithium atoms, if I have methane, CH4, etc. So that's what we mean by particles. Quickly, you need to be aware that anytime you deal with particles, you need Avogadro's number, which is 1 mole equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So if you need to go from particles to moles or vice versa, you need only Avogadro's number, just this. However, if you need to go from particles, and again, the other way around, be ready to do both to grams, let's say, then you actually need Avogadro's number and the molar mass, which is, the 1 mole equal to whatever the molar mass is from the periodic table. So here you need one conversion factor, and this one you need two. So let's focus on this problem. It says here how many molecules, so obviously this is particles, of C2H4 are in 52 grams of C2H4. So since we have grams in here, we know we need two conversion factors. We need the Avogadro's number, and then we need the moles to grams. So let's start by calculating the molar mass. Remember what I told you, that if you see a problem that has grams in it, you have to calculate the molar mass. So we have C2H4. That means we have 2 carbons and 4 hydrogens. So if we go ahead and find these numbers from the periodic table, if you have the periodic table in front of you, we already talked about carbon and hydrogen. But here's carbon, 12.01, and hydrogen is 1.01. So we have 2 times 12.01 plus 4 times 1.01. And if you calculate this, you get 28.06 grams per mole. So let's write this as a conversion factor here. 28.06 grams of C2H4 equals 1 mole of C2H4. We also need the Avogadro's number, so we're going to write 1 mole of C2H4, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd C2H4 molecules. So let's do the problem here. Okay. So we're beginning with 52.0 grams of C2H4, and we're asked to go to molecules. So we're going to have to write C2H4 molecules. Okay, so we have 2 conversion factors here. Which one do you think we should use first out of these 2? Well, if we're starting with grams, we have to use this one first. So that's use number 1, because you have grams, so you need them to cancel out. So you have 28.06 grams of C2H4 and 1 mole of C2H4. Once again, I really like to cross out the conversion factor. And now what's next is I need to use the next conversion factor. So I have 1 mole of C2H4. That one goes in the denominator, so it can cancel out the moles here. So you have 1 mole of C2H4, and we have 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd C2H4 molecules. So let's cancel out some units here. So grams cancel out the units of grams, and then moles cancel out the units of moles. Now you have a problem here where you have a number, a very large number. So how do you actually use your calculator? The way to use your calculator is, well, let's actually begin. So we're gonna multiply across and then divide by 28.06. So what we do is the following. We're going to do 52, open parentheses, in your calculator, 52.0 times 6.02. Now, in your calculator, you may have the key that is EE or EXP. Most of calculators have EE, so I'm going to use that. Just type in EE and then 23. Close the parentheses here. And now divide by 28.06. Now, so take a minute, look at your calculator. In this case, sig figs, we started with 3. That's the golden rule here. So we must end with 3 sig figs. So if you do this in your calculator, you should end up with 1.12 times 10 to the 24th. C2H4 molecules. Now I'll make this video just a little bit longer by just, well, what if this problem asked you to stop at moles? So what if it said, just give me the moles, converting from moles to or from the particles to moles or moles to particles. Um, so let's look at that problem really quick. So what if we were given, and again, these go backwards. So what if we were given something like 0.912 moles of C2H4, and we needed to convert to the C2H4 molecules. How many? The number. So here, only going to use one conversion factor, which is Avogadro's number, which is 1 mole times 10 to the equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So in this case, you write 0.912 and then we're ending with C2H4 molecules. And here we just have one conversion factor, which is 1 mole of C2H4 equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. So you're multiplying, so the units cancel out down here. You're multiplying 0.912 and you will get 5 point, actually, let me bring it down here for more space, 5.49 times 10 to the 23rd C2H4 molecules. Practice, practice, practice.